Mothers are the greatest gift to us from God. None of us can imagine our lives without our mothers. Mere thought of losing them brings lot of fear. Today's topic is our next poem, that is class 12 CBSE board, My Mother at 66, written by Kamla Das. In this poem, she expresses her fear, her feelings, love, affection for her mother, who has turned 66. And it is one fine day when she realizes that now she is aging and the days will come soon when I'll lose her with due course of time. What happens exactly in the poem is that Kamla Das, she has come to her place to visit, to meet her mother, and now finally she is going back to Cochin. And at Cochin airport, she looks towards her mother and she realizes that this might be the last chance when I am seeing her. Now the poem is all the expression, feelings that she experienced while she was in the cab to reach the airport along with her mother. Her mother accompanied her to just say goodbye to her at the airport. So they both were sitting in the car, and once the mother sat beside her, she looked at her mother. She looked at her face, and then she realized all of a sudden that she is looking so dazed. Her mouth is open, her skin is wrinkled. She looks pale, not as energetic as she used to be. And then finally she realizes that the time will come one day when I lose my mother. Why? Because of the universal fact that she's turning old, she's aging. Let's see the line by line explanation of the poem. I'll read the lines and I will explain you simultaneously. Here I see. My mother at 66. My mother at 66. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. So this is very simple. She tells that, okay, my mother is of 66 years and I was driving from my parents' house, from my parents' home, back to Cochin airport, and my mother was sitting beside me in the car, and then I looked at her. So what she found? I saw my mother beside me, jaws open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized that with pain that she was as old as looked, but soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, wan, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. So it is a very simple one. I just read it completely, and now I started from the point where she looked at her. So she says in 4-5 lines continuously that I looked at her and she looked dazed, very dull, open-mouthed. That means her body was not as energetic as she used to be in her young days, or still better days, might be 1 or 2 years back, and realized with pain that she was as old as looked. And she says that then all of a sudden I realized when I looked at her, all these expressions, her pale face, dull, no energy, lethargic, tired, old. And then I realized that yes, it is just not by the number 66, she's exactly old that she looks that way. I continue. But soon, put that thought away. And then she says, but then soon I try to divert my mind and I just put away with that thought. And what I did in order to divert my attention from my mother and from these fearful thoughts and feelings that were coming in my heart and mind, that it is the day, now the time is approaching, that my mother is getting older, day by day, and I'll lose her one day. So she just wanted to go away with this thought. And she says that what I did, and looked out at young trees sprinting. She says that then I looked out of the window, and what she saw that young trees are sprinting. The leaves, they are waving in the breeze that's blowing. And what else? The merry children spilling out of their homes. And then she saw very energetic little children who are just moving out of their houses to play. They are making a merry time. They are happy. It's a playful time for them. But after the airport's security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her. And then she continues. Now, my question over here, I will break and I'll ask, why is she comparing her mother, or why is she comparing two different visuals? Because she wants to make us clear, the readers clear about it, that one side, inside her car, she is witnessing the fear of losing someone who is just about to complete the journey of life that a normal human being does. Birth, infancy, childhood, youth era, adolescence, and then gradually the person moves towards the old age, and then it comes to an end. This journey, the struggle, the experiences, they all come to an end. And when she wants to divert herself, she immediately looks out of the window, and the situation is just the opposite. Outside the window, it's so lively, so energetic. Why? Because the children are there. Young trees, they are blowing. So one side, young, energetic things are happening, and the other side, dull, old age. Two different aspects of life. The reality check that she is realizing now. And then she says that I move towards the security check. That means now they have reached the airport and now it's time for the security check. She says that I move towards the security check, and then I stand over there for a while. I turned back and I looked at my mother once again. I felt something in my heart. I felt as if this might be the last time I am looking her. But then she never wanted her mother to realize what she was feeling. And then she says, I kept a beautiful smile on my face. I just smiled, and smiled. And what I said, see you, Amma, with the hope, with the positive ending that whatever I am feeling is just because I am her daughter and it is the fear of losing my mother. But I pray to Almighty that once when I'll meet her again, I'll look at my mother the same way, all alive amongst us. So now I read the concluding last few lines of the poem. I looked again at her, wan pale, as late winter's moon. Now why she compares her mother with the winter moon? All of us, we know that in winter season, when fog is there, then we cannot see the moon clearly. We cannot see the bright, young, shiny moon. What happens? The light of the moon, it fades away with the fog, and it looks very weak to us. So therefore she compares her mother with the winter moon. She says that when I looked at her from the security check, she looked as pale as a winter moon, and felt that old familiar ache. And then she says that I exactly felt that similar pain, similar ache that makes us realize the truth of life, the old age, in which someone gets weakened from due course of time. My childhood's fear. Now she remembers, like, it is the same fear in me as well. Like, when I was small, there was a fear of losing my mother. I was a little kid and I never wanted to part with my mother. But then she says it's time that I realize that I'll soon part away with my mother and I don't want to. And this is the fear what I'm feeling again. And then she concludes, but all I said was, see you, Amma. All I did was smile and smile and smile. And then she concludes her feeling that this is the reality, and I never wanted my mother to realize it, that I could feel it. Therefore, with a smile on my face, I just said goodbye to her, but with the hope in my heart that I should not lose her and we'll meet again. Thank you for watching. I hope you understood the poem very well.